Maddie. Thank you for organizing this, and thank you guys again for being here. So I know that some of you will be cooking along. Did you do your homework? Did you did you prep? Did you peel the potato? Did you peel the carrots like I said? I hope so. If not, that's okay. We'll have time. Let me see. So for those of you who are cooking along, let's make very briefly, let's double check on all the ingredients that you're gonna need. Okay, so you're gonna need some extra virgin olive oil, obviously salt. See, I don't have salt. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, now I have salt. Then the veggies. So you're gonna need onion, celery or celeriac, carrot. Okay. Then you're gonna need 1 potato or 2 small potatoes, cannellini beans. They should be already drained and ready to go. Obviously, our star ingredient, which is this gorgeous dinosaur kale or black kale or Tuscan kale, or as I call it, kale. So you're gonna need some kale, some vegetable stock, should be warm and ready to go. Everybody good? Yes? Give me thumbs up. Yes? Okay, perfect. Okay, so why don't we move to the chopping area? So we're gonna move here, and I can show you a few things. We're good. Okay. So first of all, as I do this, what I usually do is I get the pan, the pot going. So I'm gonna turn off the cast iron, low to medium, and just wait until it gets nice and warm. Okay. And so let's work on the veggies. So we're gonna do the carrots last. So the onions should be chopped. Nothing particular here, just a rough chop. I don't know if you can see, it's just random chopping, a little bit of chopped onion. Okay, so everybody has the onion chopped up, ready to go. Okay, I hope so. Okay, then the celery. So I'm using today celeriac, which is basically the root. It's the same family. Okay, it's very tough. So what I want you to do, if you have this guy here, is to slice it very thinly, okay? Because the thinner, the better, and it's easier to cook it, okay? Not too much. I used, I think, half or like a quarter of the small guy. Once you have the slices, you're just gonna, chop them up a little bit, very tiny, very thin. Again, this is nothing too serious, nothing too fancy. It's a soup. Okay. Everybody has celeriac and celery ready to go. I'm just gonna checking in with you guys once in a while. Celery ready? Yes? Can I hear you?
Got
ready
one
to go with celery? Yes? Okay. Now, and by the way, celery, carrots, onion, Dickinson Farm. Yes. So organic certified Dickinson Farm. Awesome. Thank you, Maddie, for providing the ingredients. Carrots. So I have a bunch of little carrots here. Maybe I'll just use only 2. I would say it should be, what I usually do with this mix is 1, 2, 3. What does that mean? 1 celery, 2 carrot, 3 onion, meaning quantity, okay? Small amount celery, medium amount carrot, and 3 amount, large amount onion, okay? Mirepoix in French, mirepoix, okay? So it's this gorgeous mix. You can do 1, 2, 3, or whatever. Actually, today I have 3 carrots. I'm gonna use all of them because I don't wanna waste anything. It's a soup. So what I like to do with the carrots, is keep them, you know, a little big. Okay, I want to taste the carrot in the soup. It's a very simple soup, so we want to, you know, underline and make the ingredients really pop. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is actually cut each carrot in a half, like so. So if you're cutting carrots, do the same, cut it in a half. You know what? It is a little too much. I'll have it as a snack. Okay. So once you have it in a half, then you just slice it. If it's kind of like a largish, nice looking carrot, you can even go a quarter so that you get nice cubes. See, and they're pretty large. You don't want to mince this, okay? Just nice chunks of carrots, okay? Depending on how big they are, you can cut the carrot in a half or just keep it as it is, okay? Is everybody working on their carrots? Yes, good.
Yes.
Yes, I heard somebody. Okay, so we have the three important. Extra virgin olive oil, always extra virgin olive oil. Okay, very important. Top quality. Generous amount on the bottom of your cast iron. Oops, without that. Okay, and then we're just gonna start with onions. You don't want it, you see, it's kind of frying. You don't want that to happen. So lower the heat. It should be gentle, okay? If it's too strong, you're gonna burn the onion. So just a little gentle stir. And then in they go carrots and celery. Here we go. Okay. Now, very low heat. Just let it sweat a little bit. So everybody is at that point? Yes? Perfect. Okay. So just let it go a little bit. Now let's go to our potato. I hope you have your potato already peeled. Are you done with the potato, ready to go? I hope you have the potato ready. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Potato, what I usually do, again, it should be cubed, nice size cube. Here, let me go grab a carrot. So as a point of reference, we want cubes more or less like the carrots, if not slightly bigger, okay? So let me do that. What I usually do, cut it in a half, okay? And then you just slice it thick, the thickness of your cubes, basically. So you see one small potato, one medium potato, I have 4 slices, basically. 1, 2, and 4, okay? Now put them on their sides. If they're too thick, that is not a square, it's gonna get a rectangular. So just cut it in half again, like you're making French fries, basically, okay? Put them on their side, slice them lengthwise. Okie doke. And there you have it. So you should have this thick slices of potatoes, okay? Once you have that, you can cube it up. Very easy. So again, it doesn't have to be precise. And what I like is that you see the variety. You have cubes, they're pretty much the same. And then you have the little tips here, you see? These little tips will basically will cook faster and will give the soup a little bit of a creaminess to it, okay? Give it a little stir. See, mine is getting a little bit of color. So what you can do at this point is add a little bit, just a little bit of your veggie stock, so that again it doesn't burn. We want to be gentle, just simmering, okay? And in the potatoes, chop and put them in. Cube and in. Okay. Last round. Cube and in. Cube and in. Little stir. Okay. Now, whoever is following along should be at this stage now. Are you all here? Are your potatoes in? Before I move forward, can you let me know?
Yeah.
Yeah, potatoes in?
Yes, potatoes are in.
Perfect. Okay. Salt. What I like to use is some little bit of coarse salt, because I think it's a little sweeter than refined salt. So just a little for the potatoes. Remember, whatever you put in here needs flavoring, okay? Potatoes need salt. The other veggies need salt. The only thing that is already seasoned is our vegetable stock, okay? So don't forget salt as you go, okay? For each of the ingredients, basically. So that's what I do. I put a little pinch for each of the veggies so that, you know, everything is nice and seasoned. Okie doke. Now, little bit of stock so that it doesn't burn or anything. Should still simmer. Okay, now it's time to work our gorgeous kale. So let me show you with one leaf first. So what I usually do, actually what my mom does, see, this is kind of tough, obviously in the center. You just cut along, and that's it. You do want to keep the top part, so just, you know, snip that part. You see how much I removed? So it's not really the whole thing. It's just the toughest part at the bottom, okay? So take your kale, make a little incision, and then snap the tough part, okay? And keep going until you are done. In the meantime, the potatoes are cooking. Keep an eye on them, obviously. Low heat. Guys, is there any question as I do this, as we do this tedious work? Any questions? No? Okay. Okay, you guys, so this is going to take a little bit of time. So I would like to take this time to, first of all, welcome my food studies colleague, Heather Bedi from Environmental Studies. Heather Bedi is currently teaching the senior capstone for our food studies certificate, and that would be food studies 401. And also I would like to welcome food studies 401 students. I saw 2 of them, but I'm sure they're all here. So welcome. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you for having us. It's Bisrat and Amelia and Jackie and Maddie are all in my class. It's wonderful. Sorry, I have a puppy barking in the background, so I'll put it back on mute.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, no, it's great to have you here. And so the reason why they're here also is because they have been studying with Heather, um, obviously, food from all sorts of perspective. It's a multi and interdisciplinary subject, and particularly uh, today we wanted to chat a little bit about food and gender. And Heather, did you guys already covered this in class, or because I
They have done amazing work on this.
awesome.
Maddie was actually just presenting today on fat phobia and a really cool nutrition she did for kids in the kitchen through Project Share.
Okay.
So definitely, everything that we've looked at this semester ends up intersecting with issues of gender and kind of ideas of neoliberalism and power. So it definitely comes up quite a lot, but I didn't mean to put it on your plate, literally.
Oh, no, that's fine. No,
to
that's good
talk
to
about
know.
that, but it's fun to be doing food like in this way as well. It was a fun thing to gather all the resources. And we have a question about the kale. Are we supposed to do all of it, Luca? Or like how much?
Okay, so look, I'm cleaning up. This is the whole bunch. Okay. I'm probably not gonna use all of the whole bunch. It depends on how much you have. Okay. I would say maybe 2/3. Can you see the amount here? So pretty much this much. Okay, just a little. Can you see my hands here? So, a nice, generous serving. Okay. And by the way, I don't know what you guys are using. There is substitutes, obviously. I would not recommend the curly green kale that you find usually at the store. So the curly one that usually, you make kale chips out of it. I would not use that one. However, for this recipe, I have used Swiss chard, which is very nice. It's very sweet and it works very well with the soup. Okay. Um, so that's what I would recommend. Okay. So going back to our chat, what I would like to do today with you guys is just mention maybe four little points about food and gender. And I'm no expert, and so we don't want to start, a lecture or a debate. I just want to share a few points that I think are worth thinking, right? So the first one is food work, meaning everyday labor, okay? How gender impacts that in terms of who does the work, who does the preparation, who does the planning, who does the shopping, okay? So when we talk about food and gender, that is something that we should keep in mind, and I think it's worth exploring, okay? Um, my thought on this is that we obviously should be very aware of the social practice, meaning what is expected for these, let's say, roles in food preparation and in food shopping. What does that mean? It means that we have to look, for example, at the institutional social order. Okay, that's what I meant with social practice. Um, I'm not gonna comment further because I don't want to say stereotypical thing. I don't want to say obvious thing. I'm just, making you aware of the importance of the social practice and the institutional social order. Okay. Um, and we'll discuss more. This is just the first point, so just keep that in mind. Okay. We'll cover other aspects, but as of now, let's just put everything into perspective. It's very important to keep in mind this institutional social order, okay, which can be obviously right or wrong, and but we'll go in depth. Okay, so I'm gonna pause on that thought right there. I don't know if you notice what I've been doing for each of the leaf. I basically sliced little strips. You see them? More or less large. I hope you can see them. See what I did here? So just little strips. Okay. Little strips, little strips. Can you all let me know if you are also doing this? Are you done with your kale? Can I move to the next step? Okay. Yes. I'm just going to move ahead. Okay. So I'm going to take a few strips at a time. And you probably guessed by now, what I'm going to do is do some chopping so that you get kind of like, squares, roughly chopped. See what I did here? And in they go. Okay. You're going to smell the iron. You're going to smell the green. Very healthy. And so that's it. So notice what I'm doing. It's just little square, basically. Okay. In they go. A little stir. Notice also, do you guys see how the carrots are still bright and orange? Because the pot is still uncovered. So if you keep it uncovered, your vegetables are going to stay nice and pretty and bright, including the green, I have to say. If you cover it, it doesn't breathe, it oxidizes in there, and it becomes kind of dull and dark green. And we don't want that. Okay. I'm done with my kale. Are you guys done with your kale? Okay, give it a little stir. Again, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do salt. This is for the kale. So just a generous pinch. That's the last pinch of salt, I think, for the day. You don't want to overdo it. Okay, the kale is gonna start to wilt. Slightly wilted. You can see the potatoes. It's looking good. Okay. Are you at the same stage? Can I see some thumbs up from far away, or I'll keep going? Yes, okay. Very well. Okay, now it's time for the vegetable stock. And this is really up to you how much you want. I'm gonna do just enough to cover the veggies. It's not a soupy, liquidy soup. It's kind of hearty. It's something in between. It's kind of like a chili consistence or a very thick minestrone. Keep in mind that some of this will evaporate, so I think I'm just gonna stop there. This is also wonderful vegetable stock from the farm. I usually just make a plain one with celery, carrot, and onions, the usual. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. You see the stock is barely covering the soup. Can you see that? Okay. Now, before I move to the next stage, you guys, let's continue our gender discussion. Okay, so it's my point number 2. So point number 1 is social practice, institutional social order. Now, number 2, let's talk about culinary femininity. Okay, so number 2 is culinary femininity, and then number 3 will be culinary masculinity. Okay, so culinary, I'm keeping an eye on my soup. Culinary femininity, what can we say? So first of all, let me say that I am referencing a wonderful book, and I'll put it in the chat. It's actually the book that Heather Bedi and the students used in 401, Food and Gender. Hold on, here we go. Okay, so culinary femininity. Culinary femininity, basically seen as an extension of the love and the care, okay, women provide for the family, right? And in some cultures, and I found this very interesting, if you think about bento box. So in Japan, bento box is not just lunch for the kids, it's actually social, again, social practice. It's kind of like a social representation of the mother. The mother is judged based on the beauty and the organization of the bento box, basically. That's it's kind of fascinating. And something similar happens in Italy. When you go to university in Italy, you move to another city, and basically, as a student, you would receive the so-called package, the package from home. What does that mean? That's literally a package that you receive in the mail from your mom, who takes care of you and sends you bags of pasta, homemade canned tomatoes, and cheeses. Let me tell you something. Your flatmates, your apartment mates will notice whose box is better and whose mom is taking better care of their children. I mean, it's quite a thing. But anyway, you know, there is this social construction um, of food and caregiving that is tied to a gendered order, okay, in which the care work through food is associated with domestic femininity. And actually, I was reading, this is quite interesting. It also happens in, you know, it happens in heterosexual families, but also in same-sex families. It's quite fascinating. Now, let's keep in mind that this is also, culinary femininity is also linked to social class that basically shapes food identities and food behavior, okay? So cooking, especially cooking femininity, I would say, cooking can be seen, I'm adding some kale because I don't want to waste it. Cooking can be seen as an act of resistance in some cultures, and also food work is seen as empowering, okay? So especially where there is a very visible discrepancy and unbalance between, you know, masculinity and femininity, is cooking is seen as a act of resistance and an act of empowering. So let me stop there. I'll pause right there. Hold your thoughts about culinary femininity. Hold on. So what I'm gonna do now is use this cute little guy that actually my father gave me. You see this little object? It's a little man thing, it's silicone. Or I would say it's gender neutral, actually. It's not a man, but so it's a little object that you put here on the rim of your pot, and it looks like it's drowned, it's getting out of the pot. And then I'm just gonna gently cover it so that it can still breathe here, you see. Low, it has to simmer, okay? And we're gonna move to the pasta. Actually, Heather, you wanna go up front first? Okay, so I'm here up front, good. The soup is going. It's gonna take about 20 minutes. Potatoes will be cooked. And just a reminder, we still have cannellini beans, right? Don't forget. So cannellini beans are gonna go in the last 5 minutes. They're already cooked. They just have to, become warm and get out some of that flavor. So 10, 15 minutes before, 5 or 10 minutes before you eat the soup, okay? There's no need to put them in there now, otherwise you're gonna get mushy.
Luca, can I ask a question? Sorry, what temperature should we have it at now?
The soup?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to simmer, so medium to low on the low side. It has to simmer, so you have to see some sort of bubbles going on, okay? It's good? Okay, so today, and we have plenty of time, we have about 20 minutes to do this. What I would like to do with you guys is maltagliati to go in the soup. Maltagliati in Italian means badly cut. So when you make fresh pasta, especially ravioli or tagliatelle, when you cut the pasta, you are obviously always going to end up with little tiny cuts and remainders, and you never know what to do with those little pieces of pasta. Well, they're called maltagliati and they're perfect for a soup. So we're gonna make them from scratch. So let's go to my pasta board. So this is my my pasta board, okay? It's a pretty big cutting board. I don't know if you can see. Pretty much, it's a cutting board. Which usually comes with a big rolling pin, and that's where you have to roll out your pasta. So make sure, if you follow along, make sure you have a clear, large-ish surface, okay? It doesn't have to be a huge rolling pin. You can use a regular one. That's fine, okay? So let's go to the actual pasta dough. I hope you guys did this ahead of time. So as I said, it needs about 30 minutes to rest under plastic wrap that I keep and I use for pasta usually, and or a bowl on top of it. It is rested. I made this about, I would say 45 minutes ago. I don't know if you can see the consistency. It's very smooth. Okay, it's very smooth, and that's how it should look like. Okay, should I go down? Okay, here we go. So it's very smooth, and that's how it should look like. Now, 002 flour, 00, weak in gluten, not too much gluten. You just put some flour on your surface, not too much, just enough to get the pasta going. Now, so this can be tricky. It shouldn't be tricky. It will not be tricky. Okay, so let's work together. It looks intimidating sometimes, but it's not. It's not. Okay, so how do I make this look like a large and thin pasta? Well, you have to roll it out. Okay, but you have to be gentle. Okay, so what I would recommend, instead of attacking the pasta and just go back and forth, just hold on, take a deep breath, push in the center. See what I did? Just to keep it going. Okay, so push in the center, and then push again in the back, front, center, back, back. And you keep going. Okay, so just flatten it a little bit. You need to be a little patient. And then you turn it and you do the same. Okay, And as you can see, it will eventually start to look like a circle, you see? And you just go back and forth for now, okay? And you keep turning, okay? Keep turning, keep the round shape going, keep going. And again, it's okay to use a small one. I would not recommend to do this, you know, you don't have control. You don't have control on the pasta. So don't use these little handles, just actually go use the wood, use the actual rolling pin, okay? Do not use the handles because you don't feel the pasta under. You need to feel the pressure. You need to know, you need to feel what's going on. Also, the pasta, see, the flour is almost disappearing. The pasta will throw out its dampness, its humidity, its water, I mean the egg. And so the rolling pin will feel slightly cold or slightly damp. When you feel that, that's a very good indicator. Then maybe it's time to add a little more flour. Okay, if you did this, you don't even know. I mean, you can't tell, right? If you do this, it's not gonna work. Okay, so keep going, keep rolling out. Just make sure it's gonna clean under. Okay. Okay, and then at this stage, it's getting a little larger. Okay, now we need to start applying some pressure. Okay, and how do you do that? You get close to the end of the cutting board so that you're pressing from above down, okay? So that it's actually easier. If you're far away and you do this, it's just not gonna work. So just be kind of like above it, okay? Press down and then squeeze out. As you do this, focus on the front part. So you start half going out. You turn half going out. You turn half going out. Okay. So that it's nice and even. Half going out, half going out, turn, half going out. Okay. Anybody would like to show their pasta? We're still at the beginning. Do you want to show it? Nobody?
I can show mine. It's not a circle though.
Let's see.
Okay.
Amelia, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Amelia, that is normal. That's totally normal. Keep it turning. Keep it turning.
Keep turning. Okay.
Yeah, keep turning and try.
Ours looks like a deformed potato. Not even that. It's gone. I don't know what happened to it.
I think we missed the 40-minute part. Sorry.
Uh-oh. It looks like it may need to rest a little more there. So try to make the ball again and then start over. If it breaks up, that's okay. Just make the ball again and then start over. It should be okay. Maybe you didn't let it rest too much. It needs to become a little elastic, okay? So this is a little move that I was taught in Bologna when I did my fresh pasta course. And basically you push forward. You see what I'm doing? The hands start wide and then you push and go in the center up. You start wide and then you go up with this part of your palm, okay? The lower part of your hand. I don't know if you can tell. I'm sure you can, right? Can you tell what I'm doing? So, and then you just keep going. Now, it's starting to get a little thin. See how it's going far? It's like I'm pushing it, obviously, so it's going away, right? So what you can start doing at this stage, when you have it a little large, is this. You go to the rim of your cutting board and you see kind of like half of it, you let it go down, okay? Make sure it doesn't fall. If you do this, then basically you're stretching, but it's not going anywhere. So basically you're pushing it, you're stretching it. See what happens? It's getting thinner, and it's actually easier to control because it's not gonna go anywhere. Okay. And then you keep going. So this may take a little bit of time, obviously. You have to be patient. I think that the putting it on the side of the board actually helps, because again, you have control on the pasta. It's not going anywhere, and you're actually rolling it thin the way you want. These are 2 eggs, guys. I did 2 eggs, and 2 eggs can easily feed 2 or 3 people. So my goal here is to get this large. It has to be thin. This is still pretty thick. I don't know if you can see here. I mean, it's still a little thick. Okay. Keep an eye on that soup. Okay, since this is labor intensive. Okay, so let's continue our chat. We saw the social constructions, and then we saw culinary femininity. Now let's move on to culinary masculinity, okay? Again, we need to talk about social practice, but also in this case, very often we talk about special practice. Very often, culinary masculinity is associated to a performance. It's related to a special occasion, okay, an adventure or leisure, okay, and actually even seduction, okay. Now remember, for culinary femininity, we talked about care. We talked about providing for the family, or for the household, for the children, for the partner. Okay. Here with culinary masculinity, you know, there is also some characteristics associated, obviously, with this, you know, performance and special practice. Okay. However, I have read that there are also some characteristics. So within culinary masculinity, there are some characteristics associated with culinary femininity. Okay. So basically, it goes back to cooking to show care, cooking to show love. Okay. And this is very interesting. It also happens in non-domestic context. It happens in same-sex spaces. Okay. However, if that happens, so for example, I'm thinking about, you know, firefighters. There was a study, I don't remember if it was United States or England. Again, this is from Food and Gender, that basically, you know, this group of men, all men, firefighters, they would they would cook for each other. They would have to take care of, you know, the shopping and the cooking. And however, it's kind of like this denial of, you know, the culinary femininity aspects of this, because what they were doing is basically taking care of each other, cooking good things and make sure everybody liked the food. But there was actually hyper masculine. I'm gonna cut my dough, so I need to remove my watch. There was some sort of like a hyper masculine food talk, so that you know, they would kind of like deny the culinary femininity. Okay, and what's also interesting is that usually, you know, in this situation, so men would actually enter in the space of the kitchen in their own terms, so not following anything to do with culinary femininity. It's just in their own turn. And it's fascinating to me, linguistically, there's this whole context of this all vocabulary of masculine food. I'm sure you've seen it online, you know, it's like manly chicken, or grill this, grill that, which I'm sure if my mentor, food historian
I think we're losing you there.
were here, he would obviously talk about the room. And do I hear somebody?
Yeah, sorry, we were losing you a little bit. But I think you're back now.
Sorry. I'm sorry, say it again.
No, you just cut out a little bit there, but we can hear you. We can hear you again now.
I'm sorry, am I back now?
Yep, you're back. And also there's a couple of questions about how the dough is not sticking, and also how do you not break your dough?
Okay, so the dough not sticky. The dough is slightly damp a little bit. It's the wood that really does it, because the wood absorbs humidity, the rolling pin and the wood and the friction. I don't want to put any flour at this point. However, if it's really sticking, then you may want to sprinkle a little bit. Okay, it has to feel like, if you touch it, it feels cool, it feels cold, it feels, I don't want to say wet, but it feels damp, it feels cool. So that's what it's supposed to be. Okay, not super dry, so you don't want to put too much flour. And then the second question was, how do you prevent it from not breaking? Look, it broke. It's luck. You have to be gentle. You can, when you push the dough, you can tell if some areas are thicker or the wood vein. So if it starts to get too thin, just leave it, go away from that spot. Okay, go find the thick spots. So for me right now, the thick spots are kind of like the rim here around. So I'm just gonna focus on those and gently touch up, gently, 1 and 2, that's it. Okay, do not insist. And I think we're almost there. I'm actually gonna stop because I kind of like it not super thin for our maltagliati. Okay, Amelia, how are you doing?
Good. I trimmed off the end so
Amelia,
that I can work with a circle. I'll show you. So, yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm coming to see it. Did you cut it in half?
Wait, sorry. What did you say? I
Did you
cut it.
in a half.
No, I just trimmed the ends so that it was a circle so I could like roll it out easier.
Okay.
How?
got it.
So
Okay.
it's more circular. It still does not look like yours.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, because we have a few minutes left, so I'm gonna cut my pasta in a half. Okay, this is the little gadget for fresh pasta. You don't, I mean, you can use a knife, you can use whatever you want, a pizza peel, a pizza rolling pin. So that's a pizza peel, a pizza rolling pin. Okay, you can use either or a knife. So I'm just gonna cut it in a half. Okay. And I'm gonna put this here on the side. Now let's make these maltagliati, okay? I'm gonna get, okie doke. Okay, so now if we were to make tagliatelle, you just have to, roll it up like that, and then you just slice the tagliatelle, right? These are maltagliati, these are badly cut, so it doesn't have to be that regular, okay? So first of all, I'm gonna take a little sprinkling of flour so that it doesn't get sticky. I'm gonna roll it up, not tight, just gently fold, gently fold, gently fold, okay? And then with the knife, you're gonna have to do this cut. Can you see my knife? And then you're going to change it and you're going to do this cut. So you're going to go that, 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 so that it becomes kind of like irregular. Okay. Do you see what I did? So slightly, very, very much irregular, badly shaped, badly cut maltagliati. Okay. And you keep going. Cut, 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 cut. And it can be large, it can be thick, it can be thin. It doesn't really matter. Again, these are called badly cut. Make sure they're all separated from each other. Okay. You don't want them to stick. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to show it again. Oops, it's a little too much. Okay. So again, roll, roll, kind of like fold, fold, fold. Okay. And then cut, 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 cut. And you're gonna get a lot of maltagliati. So this actually, I think this is probably plenty for our soup today. Okay. So I'm just gonna leave them there. Why don't we go back to our soup? Here we go. You see, potatoes are cooked. It's not super liquidy. I like it this way. Now, what I'm gonna do is just add the final little part of our liquid. And again, this you can really change however you want it. Final step, our cannellini beans. Okay, so in they go. Cannellini beans, you can do all of them. You can do half, really up to you. If you're only doing cannellini, you may want to put the whole thing. If you're also adding the pasta, then you may want to maybe put a little less cannellini. I'm just gonna do the whole thing, and then maybe I'll add a little more liquid if needed. Okay. It is 6 p.m. here in Carlisle, and all the dogs in the neighbor are barking. Can you see the dogs? Can you hear the dogs? I don't have a dog, but for some reason, only 6 p.m. But not at noon. Okay, so the soup is pretty much ready, you guys. It just needs to simmer for maybe 5 minutes, and then it's ready to go. And so what I would do here, if you want to do a little on the side, I'll show you. Okay. I'm going to take some in the little pot with a little more veggies. Okay. I'm going to move the soup. Okay. A little bit of potatoes. Can you see my little pot there? Can you see it? Yes, perfect. So this is, I would say, maybe one serving. I just want to show you, keep it on the liquidy side. You can add a little bit of water or a little more stock. Now to that, I am now going to add a little bit of our maltagliati. It's okay, I'm just gonna go back. Here we go. So just a little maltagliati when the soup reaches the boiling point. Who else made maltagliati today? I know Amelia was working on it.
I did.
Okay. Good. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, let me show you. I think it works.
Okay.
Good job, Bisrat. Wow. I'm so
Nice.
impressed. My
Bisrat,
class
that's
is
great.
much better than we are.
Again, less than a melted potato.
Uh-oh. The potato was supposed to go in the soup.
He was comparing it to that, Luca.
Yeah. I'm sure.
But
you
I'm
can
so
give it another
impressed.
try.
You all did really well.
You can give it another try. That's okay.
We will try again. I think we'll try that pasta maker someone gave us too.
Okay, so we have the maltagliati. I'm waiting for the stock to reach the boil so that I'll show you the maltagliati. The last, for our gender chat, the last point, I'll be brief because I know it's already 6:05. The last one that I wanted to mention to you today is gendered labor. Okay, so gender discrepancies, obviously, in paid positions, especially, I'm thinking obviously restaurants, establishments. So this awful discrepancy. For example, let me give you an example. A men chef or a sous chef, not like a fancy restaurant or anything, just average men chef, on average makes 33,000, and an average chef woman makes 27,000. So gross discrepancy there. There is gender in, gender is embedded in our urban food, in our urban establishments, food distribution system, in our supply system. So we can talk about gender discrepancies also in the supply system. In the entrepreneurship, okay? However, recently, I have to say, this gap, these discrepancies are less and less visible, especially in the supply, like for example, here in Carlisle, so rural area, farmers at the farmers market. So women's role, in production and also in post harvest is getting stronger and stronger, and is actually aligning and kind of like filling in that gap that we're dealing with. Anyway, just food for thought. Again, I didn't mean to start any debate or any lecture or anything. I just wanted to talk to you about food work, culinary feminism, culinary femininity, culinary masculinity, and gendered labor. There is obviously so much more to be discussed. Okay, my soup is boiling, is reaching the boil. This is something that my mom taught. How much should I weigh? How do I, listen, you don't do any of that in the kitchen. It's homemade pasta. 1 handful per serving, okay? Just grab one hand like that. If you are super hungry, big hand grab. If you are okay hungry, normal grab, okay? So I'm gonna do here a normal grab, and in they go. This is fresh pasta. It's literally gonna take just a few minutes. I'm gonna take a few more. It's gonna take just a few minutes. Just keep it, make sure you don't overcook it, obviously. You know what? A little more. And you guys can do whatever you want. Here we go. It's mostly and mainly a soup. Don't forget that. It's not a pasta dish. So the maltagliati, these little badly cut pasta, is just a little add-on, okay, to your soup. It doesn't have to cover the rest of them, okay? Just a complement. It's complementary, okay? It's an added value. That, cover that up. Okay, so who's gonna have this for dinner tonight?
Us, probably, because we put all the work in.
Sorry?
Us, because we already put all the work in, and yeah.
We're gonna have to try the pasta another time.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you probably gonna have to retry the dough.
I think we'll have to do it a time when we do it early enough.
A pasta maker might be involved.
Yeah. How did other people turn out with it?
How did that turn out for the others?
Mine was about the same, Professor Bedi. I tried so hard to knead it for so long, and then I let it sit for 40 minutes, and then I came back to it and it was super sticky. It was just very hard to handle, so I don't think I did it right.
If not, then Amelia can show us the correct way to do it. You did make me feel better, Professor Trazzi, when you said you went to pasta making school.
Well, but it was just one time. I wish I did a little more, but I'm still learning. There is a lot of practice. Yeah, there is a lot of practice to be done. So this guy here, yeah, you need to really work with a good rolling pin and a good cutting board, or a space. So let me get some of the soup out. So I'll show you.
And there's also a question about how to store any extra pasta that wasn't cooked or used.
I'll talk to that in a second. Okay, can you see the pasta here? Okay, so mostly nice, hearty, soup, just a few pieces of the pasta, not too much. And then what I like to do is some extra virgin olive oil again, okay, just fresh, just a little bit. And then obviously some Parmigiano, okay. I'm just gonna put some Parmigiano on top. And then if you have some crusty bread, that would be nice. And that's la zuppa della mamma, the black kale soup. So I hope you'll make it. It's very nice. And you know, I'm actually glad today is like it's rainy and gray and ugly. It's perfect. Perfect for this weather. If you want to move to the okay, are we back here? So I'm going to answer the question regarding how to save leftover pasta. Okay, so first of all, maltagliati. These can be just left out to dry, okay? They're going to become crunchy, and then you can keep them in the fridge for a few days. Fresh pasta is okay in the fridge up to, I was told, about 48 hours, okay? Because then it's going to become too dry and it's going to turn a little dark. So no more than 2 days. These guys, you know, you can freeze them too if you want to preserve them longer. To preserve the pasta, you take some parchment paper, piece of parchment paper, because it shouldn't, you know, so that it doesn't necessarily touch. And then you just kind of fold it. Doesn't really matter how. You fold it like that. And then you either put it in another parchment paper or you use a piece of plastic to wrap it. Let me show you what I do. Hold on. I have it here. Okay, so that's what I see. This is a large Ziploc bag. So what I do, I cut it around and I use this over and over and over and over when I make fresh pasta. So what I would do is take this pasta and you kind of like roll it up, you close it, and then in the fridge for about 48 hours, no more than that. Okay? So you can do that. Or you can cut it up and eat it immediately. Okay. Any other questions? Is there any other question in the chat before we say goodbye?
I put the book in the chat. If anyone wants that chapter that Luca did a great job summarizing, I don't know how you did that while you were cooking at the same time. If anyone wants the chapter, I put my email in the chat. Feel free. I'm happy to send it to anyone. It's very good. We discussed it in class. It's a good book overall too.
Thank you, Heather, for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you for like doing such a great job engaging with that. I appreciate it. It's a lot of work for you, I think, to do cooking.
So my email is trazziel@Dickinson. I am waiting for your pictures. Show me your maltagliati and your soup, you know, in the next couple days or weeks. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. This was fun. So thank you for joining.